Let's try that again. Okay, hello everyone. This is Lance Ash. And I gotta get straightened out here. Hold on. That was a jingle that I recorded off of YouTube for a company called Patio Enclosures, and the jingle is simply patio enclosures. Can you imagine being hired to sing that? Of course, in today's world, that could simply be a AI-generated, computer-generated voice that can get you to sing anything they want now. All right, hello everyone. Going back to work after a 3-day weekend. Pretty good weekend overall. They repainted the road I live on. Amazing. I remember being a little kid and this road was a dirt road. I remember being in this car we used to have when I was a little bitty kid. I don't know, I must have been very, very little. 2, maybe 3. It was a downpour and this road became a mud pit. And the car got stuck. And I remember looking back out the back window of the car. My mother was pushing the car while my dad was driving. Oh dear. Alright, before we get into the substance of the episode, I guess it's pro forma now to go through the CDs in the bag, but I don't expect any surprises because I didn't put much effort into anything. That's kind of stuck here. Alright, what is this? Hold on a second. Alright. Ooh. Alright. Making old man noises again. Alright, number 1, we have Joe Henderson, Our Thing. Next, we have same German instructional CD as I've had in here for a while now. This is Shostakovich String Quartets. It's one of the discs out of the complete set. I think it's easier to listen to small group orchestral music than it is large. This is a CD I made by copying stuff with my recorder from YouTube. Sound quality is not very good. It's techno mix. This is High on Fire, Snakes for the Divine. This is High on Fire, Blessed Black Wings. This is Bill Hassel and Blue Screen, Dressing for Pleasure, and I think we're back to where we started. Yeah, that album, the Bill Hassel record, is really, really good. I went for a ride with my wife and we listened to it, and she agreed. She really liked it. Oh, God damn it! Hold on, there's somebody coming. Oh dear. All right. Before we get into any topics, which I don't really have any, go through some events of the weekend. Finished a painting. Pretty good too, but I'm getting a little tired of this format. I need to come up with something else. Saturday, my wife and I went out for a ride, and we decided to pick up some takeout from this Mexican place. And I wanted to stop by this, what would you call it, subdivision called Snapfinger. They have a little free library down in there, and I check once in a while. And since the people there are a little bit more high income, you expect better books in the little free library. Sometimes you find stuff, sometimes you don't. Almost the entirety of this subdivision, the houses are built in what is called shed style. So it's very mid to late 70s. I don't want to use the word post-hippie, but anyway, the houses are really cool looking. And this time of year, at the end of the day, you can see into the houses, So you get to get a glimpse of how these people live, what their decorating choices are. It's really interesting. Brings to mind things I remember when I was a kid. Anyway, but the interesting event was we decided to go home the long way home from there, and out through the countryside. And there's an immense expanse of pasture land. I guess somebody owns some large cattle baron. Anyway, and we drove by this one section. It's all fenced in, and the fence was partially down, and there was a black object on the ground. And we drove by, and I told my wife, I think it's a little calf. And I said, we really got to go back. He's outside the fence. See what we can do. So I turned around and drove back, and I parked, turned the hazards on, walked down, and I thought it was dead at first. But as I walked up, he blinked a little bit, and I got closer, and he stood up, scared. And I had to keep him from running out towards the road, try to get him back inside the fence. So I used part of the fencing that had fallen down to try to sort of corral him, and I had to put my foot on I'm using two hands to hold up the board, so I had to use my foot to sort of push his head down below the fence. Had to fight him, and once he got on the other side of the fence, he took off. Like, oh, okay, why are animals so stupid, Anyway, so he took off running, and there's no other cows around, right? And but then once he started sort of trotting out towards the field, an adult cow, maybe his mother, I don't know, came up, So that was my good deed for the weekend. And here's the interesting thing, though. So I'm walking back towards my car. My wife had gotten out to sort of watch what was going on, and I'm helping her down towards the car, and another Subaru pulled up. And this blonde chick sitting in the passenger seat asks, "You need any help?" I told her no, we help this baby cow and everything. But I felt a brotherhood, a community of the Subaru owners, Pretty cool. Their Subaru was red. I don't know if it was an Outback or if it was a Crosstrek like mine. Kind of makes me wish my car was a flashier color. Anyway, I am passing by the driveway that leads to this. There's a barn down in there where people used to pay to board their horses. When I was in third grade, my parents sent me to see a child psychiatrist because of all the problems I was having. And she had a horse in there, and she took me to visit the horse a couple of times, at least once, and she wanted me to feed the horse a carrot out of my hand, and I wouldn't do it. I was terrified of the horse biting my fingers off. There's no danger. There's no danger at all. Hold your hand flat like this, and the Horse will eat the carrot right out of your hand, and I wouldn't do it. Told my dad used to own a horse many years ago, and I told him about it recently when we went out to eat together, and he agreed it was stupid. 7, 8-year-old kid, little tiny fingers, the horse would bite your fingers right off. All you have to do is show no fear and everything will be fine. Bullshit. Oh, Lord. I can't think of any other events, really. My sister and her visiting boyfriend have gone off to Chattanooga for the weekend. So, I'm trying to think of any topics. Well, as predicted, Trump is denying ever had any dealings with Sidney Powell. She was never my lawyer. I think he's stretching the truth a little bit there. I don't know what's going on. I'm very close to cutting my connection to George Rockall Schmidt's channel. I don't give a shit about hearing him and his wife talk about video games and TV shows that I have no interest in. Their latest show was posted, and I put in a comment saying, why don't you watch the new Bosch Legacy season? Twice I posted this comment, and it was either rejected or, I don't know, deleted. Finally, I sent in a comment saying, am I banned from making comments? What's going on? And that one was accepted. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's, I don't know. But anyway, that does bring to mind the new Bosch Legacy. We watched the first 2 episodes, and I found the lack of resolution to Maddie being kidnapped to be extremely irritating and frustrating. So, didn't hold up much hope for the season. Somebody else online said that they had seen the entire season already. How, I don't know. And they said, stick to it. It pays off. It's good. So we watched, at the time we watched them, Amazon Prime only had 4 episodes available. So we watched the next 2, and I don't know. I think the whole thing's getting a little old. I like Titus Welliver. I like him in that role. But I don't know. I think the whole thing's getting. We'll have to see. To see what happens when the series wraps up. It's kind of like there are very few actors that can rise above or break the bonds of the character they're most associated with. Like Matt King will never escape Superhands, the character he played on Peep Show. I found out he was in this show called Dogface, which is a sketch show. It's not very good. And I don't think Titus Welliver will ever do anything better than Bosch. I think he knows that too. Sean Connery is forever associated with Bond, but he did do other things. And you can say, oh, well, he just played himself. Well, okay, fine, but he still was able to get out from under that. And I think he knew early on he was going to have to get away from Bond as soon as possible. Speaking of which, everybody talks about how great Last Crusade was. I don't think it was that great. Even at the time, I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was silly. But anyway, I don't know. The 4 episodes of Bosch Legacy that are out so far, they're okay. I was just really, really frustrated by the way that whole kidnapping thing was wrapped up, because it wasn't really wrapped up at all. And this whole thing with what's her name? Mimi Rogers' character. I don't know. It's frustrating. Everything is frustrating ultimately, isn't it? It's the limitation of the cinematic medium, televisual medium. Come on, buddy. I could have made the goddamn light if you had moved your ass. People just don't care. What's the point of being in the car? Just to enjoy the ride. Oh, what fun it is just to be behind the wheel. No, it's to get somewhere. What was I going to say? Next thing. Listen to some Firesign Theater on YouTube this weekend. They were so great. I just never see their like again. They have a compilation album called Dope Humor of the 70s. It's really good. Some of the stuff they did was scripted, and some of it was just made up on the moment. I had something else I was going to talk about, and I can't think what the hell it was. Oh, I know what it was. I might have mentioned this before, but Tom Wolfe said that the reason that literature is superior to film is because unique to literature, you can get inside the heads of the characters. And even if you do that sort of filmic device where you think you can hear the thoughts of the characters, it's still well, lack of a better term, better in literature that you can hear or you can see from the character's viewpoint. And I'll tell you something else. Film is deficient in its ability to present things in the dark. There's no real way they've ever been able to do it properly. Present a character that's in total darkness, what they're thinking, what they're doing. You can do that in literature, though. Lord. I got out all my... we missed by about a week the 100th anniversary of the birth of Italo Calvino. And I got out all my Calvino books this weekend. Just to sort of hold them, fondle them, fetishize them, because I just don't have time to reread them. Many years ago, I must have been 13 or 14, I saw a magazine ad for the Quality Paperback Book Club, and they had about 15 offerings that you could choose from for your initial package. And for whatever reason, I do not know why, they had a 3-volume box set of Calvino's work. It was Invisible Cities, The Baron in the Trees, and If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. And I signed up, and that was one of the things I chose. And it was exactly what I needed to read, what I wanted to read. Those books resonated with me so much. Later read Mr. Palomar and Cosmic Comics. What a great book. T-Zero, Marco Valdo. That's a great book. You know, not directly, but maybe subconsciously, those books may have influenced my thinking years later that I could write novels that were just composed of tiny little pieces. Most of the books I've written are just collections of single-page stories, loosely strung together. I'm supposed to be writing this book right now, but I just don't have time. I've had to put it on hiatus. That brings up something. I wanted to sort of use this format to talk through in my mind. We may have to go over the 20-25 minute limit here, but my comics that I write for my online magazine that's on my blog, I've been struggling. I've come up with this 4-page story format for my comics, sort of based on how I would do the single-page stories for my books. And it works, but I'm having trouble writing stuff that, I don't really think that I should take the audience or the reader in mind too much when I'm writing. But, you can't help it. People are going to find this boring. If they find it stupid, or if they find it pretentious, or if they find it frustrating, that's one thing. But if they find it boring, that's something you don't want to do. And the thing is, as much as possible, I want to write these comics stories similar to how I would write the literary stuff. So, you got the title in advance, but that's about it. You just base the story, base the writing on that title, and that's it. But I'm just having trouble. So the thing is, when I used to do a webcomic years ago on my old blog, I go back and read that stuff now. That stuff was 12 years ago. And it amazes me. I never scripted anything out in advance. It amazes me how many times I was able to end on a punchline or something pithy, something, some humorous little twist at the very last moment. And I don't seem to be able to do that now. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to go back to doing single page. And those were single page things with just 4 panels per page on average, usually. And I don't want to go back to doing just single page stuff. I don't know. I just think maybe I should just relax, let it go, and I'll just slowly fall into the rhythm of this thing. Because eventually you will find your footing. Because, and here's the thing, Years ago, I was doing, basically on average, I was doing a page of comics and 2 pages of writing per day. I believe that's how it was. Maybe I went back and forth, writing one day and drawing the next. I can't remember. But anyway, I was in a groove in those days, and it just felt so good. It felt like I had this format down, and it was so reassuring and satisfying, and just to know what I was doing and know how I was doing it. In a way, I feel like that now, but there's this niggling little doubt because the writing isn't exactly the way I want it. And I thought if I could just talk my way through this, everything would be all right. I don't know. Maybe I should just relax, let it go. All right, I guess that's about it. See ya.